I think it's official. This is probably one of my favorite chapters of Wano, specifically because there was a lot of stuff that went on. And I like this better than even the last chapter because everything was explained perfectly, in my opinion. And based off of how this chapter ended, there's no way that after Oda's 1 month break that we're just going to cut into another arc. We probably have anywhere I'd say between 3 and 7 chapters left of Wano, probably more like 3 to 5. But when you look at the post arc stuff, there's Alabasta, there's Dressrosa, and there's Lobby Marineford. They took a couple chapters after the fight was over to go in and explain stuff, and I do think even after this chapter that there were still some mysteries that are left unsolved, which I'll probably do a video about in the future. But let's talk about the chapter. The cover page, it isn't any continuation with the Germa cover story. It's about One Piece Odyssey, which it looks good. There's Luffy, Nami, Usopp on there as well, but there's nothing about other Straw Hats. This is about the game that is coming out. I don't remember when it's coming out, but I know that there's been some trailers about it recently, and the game actually looks good. So they're promoting that just like they would promote Stampede, just like they promoted Red. With the weekly Shonen Jump on Viz, they have Uta on there as well. It looks pretty good, but the chapter starts off, we cut back to Mary Jo Watt, and people are freaking out. They're like, whoa, why didn't you guys remove the D on the bounty poster? And they're also like, why did you guys use this picture? They're like, we need to reprint it, what's going on? They're like, well, it's a little bit too late now, we can't really do that for some reason. And Morgan's is doing Morgan thing. He's like, all right, we got to get the world out there, got to let everybody know what's going on, who's who did what, right? Morgan's is, I don't want to say propaganda because he's not technically lying about stuff, but he's over exaggerating the truth a little bit and making it more narratively better, like a better story writer, if you want to put it that way. And so we're going out, and it's official that Luffy, Law, and Kid got their bounties. And I will say that the world, they now know that Big Mom Kaido are defeated and that these are the main players to do it. There's Law, Kid, and Luffy, and their bounties are 3 billion apiece. Now it does look really good, especially in the coloring. The coloring's unofficial. It's based off of whoever drew it and colored it in, how they view the art. Obviously, like with Luffy, him being confirmed to be white in Gear 5th, that is the picture that they chose, that's white. But different things, it could look different when the anime drops, so I want to mention that. But one thing that kind of, it bothered me a little bit, I wasn't one of those people, I never made an official bounty video, but I wasn't one of those people who believed Luffy's bounty was going to be on the level or surpass Big Mom and Kaido or be like in the 5 billions. I thought it would be about 3 to 4 billion, like no, not exceeding 4 billion. But for him to have fought Kaido one-on-one, and for him, I kind of spoiled for later in the chapter, he's the only one out of the 3 to be considered a new emperor. And I think that his bounty should be slightly, maybe 250 to 500 million higher than Law and higher than Kid's if he's going to be called a new emperor. And I will say for this one, this is kind of weird because usually I don't ever get spoiled for One Piece chapters. But this one on Wednesday, like it took Wednesday, I did get spoiled a little bit. I found out who the new emperors were after I made my video. So like a couple hours after, I was a little bit mad about it, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So Kid and Law, but they're not emperors, right? And Kid, he, after he found out and read the paper, he rushed to the Flower Capital because they're celebrating having the banquet there. But another thing to mention, there's other characters like Killer, Zoro, Sanji, Yamato, Robin, the Straw Hats. They have not gotten their bounties revealed. I wonder when we'll get to see that, because obviously if Luffy, Law, and Kids there went up, then the Straw Hats and people who were affiliated with what happened, theirs are going to go up as well. And Jinbei really is like the nonchalant, like laid back father, because when we cut to the Fire Capital, everybody's going wild down there, and they prepared like this fancy little meal for everybody to relaxed. And Jinbei's the only one there drinking. Probably, I don't know if it's water or sake, but he's the only one enjoying it. He's like, hey, everybody else is going wild. You see Luffy, Yamato, and Chopper, they're just going around and they're partying, celebrating like the wild party animals that they are. And I like the fact that everybody's in their kimonos. The women, they look good. The men, they look manly in it as well. So everybody's going crazy. Brooke's performing a song. Hiyori's performing as well. Her favorite song, I believe it's called The Moon Princess. That was Oden's favorite song. Everybody's adoring her. And we cut to Hitetsu. He is going down, and that's where Robin is. So Robin, she is down in the basement away from everybody. You know, it's not that she's not enjoying the party, but she's a little different from the Straw Hats, and she's a little bit hands off, and she's exploring, doing a little bit of digging. And something I want to mention, when she goes down there, she's messing around with some Kokeshi dolls, which Hitetsu, he's like, yo, you're playing with my collection. Do you like them? She's like, not really. And I want to bring up what they actually are. So when I'm reading it, it says, I got this a quick search on the internet. It says most interpretations are centered around children, with some believing that Kokeshi represents the wish of a healthy child, and others that they bring children closer to the mountain spirits. So I just wanted to mention that because of how they highlighted in bold what they are. So I'm guessing that it has somewhat importance to the story, maybe, or maybe importance to Hitetsu, because we later find out that he was imprisoned down there. There's also a poneglyph down there, and we later find out that Hitetsu is actually the father of Kazuki Oden. This isn't something that was shocking to me. Something that happened a little bit later was even more shocking. But the reason why I'm saying that is because there was a lot of people who speculated that he was the father of Oden, because of different things that happened in the story, and different ways that timelines added up. So this is not shocking at all. But he doesn't want to tell Momo, and he's like, other members of the Kaizen 9, they probably, they're smart enough, they probably figured it out, because the reason he doesn't want to tell Momonosuke and the people of Wano is because he was like, well, me being in prison down here, and dealing with what happened with Orochi, Oden died after I escaped, how can I face those people? And I can kind of understand, because he even said he was willing to commit seppuku, and he was willing to take his life because of it. But I understand why he said all that, but at the same time, I think your grandchildren, like Momonosuke and Hiyori, would want to see their granddad. I don't think he did anything wrong. Orochi and Kaido are just that powerful. And another thing that was mentioned, and this is probably the biggest shock to me, was Robin, she cut him off. She's like, it's the ancient weapon here. And she said that because in the poneglyph in Alabasta, that's where it said it was at. And I was like, oh my goodness, because, Hitetsu, he says, yes, it's here. And the reason why this is a big shot is because when Robin read it, because she didn't want to give the information to Crocodile, she said doesn't have any information about the poneglyph. And obviously she lied, but we don't know where it was at. So we now know that it's in Wano. But what is it? It cuts off because we go to Udon Prison, where we're seeing a lot of the beast pirates there. Unconscious, I want to say. I don't want to say dead. We see King and Queen. They're in Udon Prison as well, and they have sea prison and cuffs, but they are taken out by an admiral, right? Admiral Greenbull. He uses his double for it. To me, it kind of looks like he's a plant that is moving with his fingers. It reminds me of something Groot would do. But he stabbed them through the chest, and obviously, King and Queen, they're strong, but granted, they were weakened. They still had sea prison cuffs on. So this, even though he took them out with ease, this doesn't necessarily display his strength, because it wasn't like they were actually clashing against each other. But it is funny that he mentioned, hey, if I struggled against commanders like you, then the name of an admiral would be tarnished, which is true. And we finally got his full name. Kizaru, we have Borsalino Kizaru, we have Sakazuki Akainu, and for him, I'm gonna read it. It's Aramaki Ryokugyu. Bruh, his name is so hard to pronounce. It's Aramaki Ryokugyu. All right, somebody got to tell me how you pronounce his name. I do want to mention his design is dope. I'm reading the chapter notes right here. It says his tattoo, it reads Shi Kawa Shinju, which stands for Shi is death, Kawa is river, and Shinju is in mind. So Shinju is generally used to refer to a suicide pact or double suicide. And if you guys didn't know, typically a lot of people commit double suicide when it comes to lovers. So I want to see what his tattoo, what it means for him. Maybe watching other videos or doing more research, I can find that information out and put in a video for you guys. And each of the admirals have their own sense of justice, which I love. But he tells them to bring a warship over to Wano. And he says, don't tell Akainu. And he's like, I like Akainu because he gets stuff done. And I want to be in good graces with him. And he pulls up Luffy's Bounty. He's like, if I take out this brat, then Akainu will probably praise me. But here's my issue with that. I can understand him bringing multiple warships, multiple admirals to SSG. Maybe they're on the ship. I don't know. But, and I talked about this in my Nico Robin video that I came out with recently. To me, seeing that Big Mama Kaido were defeated and the commanders were defeated, with Law, Luffy, Kid, Yamato, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, the Kaizenai, Wano, all of that, for all these people to still be here. And I don't know if they're fully healthy yet, but they're probably decently healthy, right? For an admiral, one individual admiral to pull up, it just doesn't make any sense to me, because Luffy can hold off an admiral on his own. Zoro can probably hold off an admiral, maybe not as long as Luffy, but Yamato as well. Kid and Law, like, he's not strong enough on his own. So one warship, it just doesn't make sense to me. We cut back to the party though, and Kid, he's pulling up. He's like, Straw Hat, and Luffy's like, Jaggy, come here. You know, he hugs him, and they're having a good time. We see other members of the Straw Hat crew and other members of the Alliance having fun as well. And then Kid, he's like, I'm not here for that. He said, I'm here to take your head. And Luffy, he shows Luffy this. He said, if I take your head. And Luffy's like, man, I don't really know what's going on with the outside world. But then his eyes get big because they announced the Fort Yonko. And this is where I was spoiled. I got spoiled that it's Blackbeard and Shanks. We already knew that. Luffy's won and Buggy's won. So obviously the Kid is mad because he has the same bounty as Luffy and he's not one of the Yonko. Which I want to know what, but like, how was one, what's Buggy's bounty, and two, how did he become a Yonko? Like, it's probably a gag, but still. But another thing I want to mention is the fact that Luffy, Kid, and Law, their bounties are higher than Blackbeard's, and yet two of them aren't Yonko. So I find that funny, maybe, and I want to know why. Maybe it's because they don't have territory, maybe because their crew aren't as dangerous. Maybe it's because of like the past, everything that Luffy has done with Whole Cake Island and his lobby marine for all of that. But I just find that interesting. And lastly, we have Admiral Green Bull. He is walking towards the flower capital, and as he's walking, there's plants that are being grown on his footsteps and behind him as well. And this is on the deserted lands that were taken over by Kaido and Orochi. So maybe Green Bull will end up bringing the green back to Wano. But this is interesting. I want to know what's going to happen, because to me, there is no way in heck we can just all of a sudden hop on a ship and get out of here without a little bit more explanation. Not just with this, but other things in the arc, like the road poneglyph. No, I'm gonna save that, right, for a video. So if you guys want to watch that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. But overall, this was a phenomenal chapter in my opinion. Green Bull lived up to the hype, and I also have to mention he is a Ronin, apparently, like in the different chapter notes that I read, and he also has a sword on his, well, like through his waistband or something along the lines of that. So maybe he might be Zoro's future opponent. I don't know who he's gonna fight with, but yeah, his design does look dope. But let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. This was actually a pretty long review because there was a lot of thoughts that were going on in my head. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.